Channel Sports Central beginning every college football game preview and prediction on the 2020 famous Idaho Potato Bowl between the Tulane Green Wave and the Nevada Wolfpack, two teams of which who have had very good seasons for their programs, as Nevada is currently 6-2 and they finished third in the Mountain West Conference, just missing the conference championship. Meanwhile, Tulane is 6-5, and even though they finished in the bottom half of the American Athletic Conference, they still had a very good season, finishing out with more wins than losses. But that being said, we're going to be going over a full game preview and prediction on this game here today, starting out with your team trends. Tulane beat Memphis in their last game 35-21, which is actually a really good win for Tulane, considering Memphis has actually been a pretty good team this season at 7-3 being their overall record right now. So Tulane, that was a big win there against Memphis to have their last game of the regular season. As for Nevada, they lost to San Jose State 20-30 in their last game, which is a brutal loss considering Nevada would have been in the conference championship game if they could have gotten a win there. But still, it's been a great season for Nevada. You can't complain there. Winning streaks, both these teams. Tulane is 6-5, one-game winning streak. Nevada is 6-2 with a one-game losing streak. So both teams still, have had great seasons. And even though Tulane's played 3 more games than Nevada, I still think Nevada is definitely capable of being a contender in this game and possibly winning this Potato Bowl this season. This game is coming out on Tuesday, December 22nd, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time in Boise, Idaho. Spread currently says Tulane by 3. ESPN FPI is going Tulane 61%. Vegas prediction also going with the Green Wave here, 36-32, being the current projected final score. So Tulane is favored here in all 3 areas, which honestly does surprise me just a little bit considering Nevada has had 3 less losses than Tulane has. But then again, if you think about it, Tulane does have 3 more games of experience in comparison to Nevada, so that could be an advantage for the Green Wave there. But still, both teams are, I think, have had pretty good seasons. Both teams got to the 6-win mark. So, yeah, I'd say both teams are pretty evenly matched here considering Nevada. Nevada was a top team in the Mountain West this season. Once again, they finished out 3rd. So, they've been a top team in the conference. The only difference there is that Tulane was in the bottom half of the American Athletic Conference this season. But still, Tulane is favored here. They got 61% on the ESPN FPI, in which the FPI is usually pretty accurate, so that is something that you do want to note there. Here's just a comparison for this game. Tulane's got 35 points per game, 27 points allowed. They got 177 pass yards a game, 218 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, they got 279 passing and 137 rushing. As for Nevada here, they got 29 points per game, 22 points allowed. They got 325 pass yards a game, 111 rush yards. And then for yards allowed, 248 passing and then 130 rushing. So the main difference here between both these teams is definitely the passing game. Nevada this season has been very good on the offensive side. They got, of course, Strong being their quarterback, who's put up nearly 2,600 yards on the season, and that's through 8 games. That's very impressive through 8 games. He's also thrown for 22 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions, which that is a great touchdown-interception ratio right there. 22-4 is very impressive out of Strong, and he's had quite a season for Nevada, and I think the future is very bright for him in general. If you look at, 325 average pass yards per game, that is very impressive out of a quarterback, and that's one of the best rates that I've seen all season out of any team. As for Tulane, they got Pratt being their quarterback. He's put up 1,600 yards on the season, 18 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. And just to give you guys a little perspective here, Tulane has played 11 games, and Pratt has put up 1,600 yards on the season. Nevada has played 8 games this season, and their quarterback Strong has put up 2,500 yards, nearly 2,600 yards on the season. That shows a huge difference between both these teams here. Nevada's been pretty much doubling up Tulane here in the passing game this season, and that's going to be the main thing that Tulane's got to worry about here is the passing defense. Problem is for Tulane is they've allowed 279 average pass yards per game over this season, which is not a very good number. Usually a good passing defense allows less than 230 yards per game, which Tulane right now has allowed nearly 280. So they've really got to have a great day in the secondary if they're going to beat Nevada here, because Nevada's main strength is in the passing game, and Tulane's main weakness is in the passing defense. That is something you got to really consider here, and I think Nevada has got a huge advantage if you're looking at that matchup there. But for Nevada here, they've had a pretty decent rush defense with 130 average rush yards per game. And as for Tulane here, they got 218 rush yards per game, and that's definitely the main focus on their offense. As their top running back has put up nearly 800 yards on the season. So, yeah, for Tulane here, this is a team that rushes a ton, but for Nevada, they're a team that has done pretty well on the rushing defense. So Nevada, honestly, I think all the arrows so far in our stat comparison here point to Nevada to be the better team here. But then again, both teams are pretty much the same in the points per game to points allowed ratio, as both teams are pretty much 7 points in between both of those stat lines. So really both teams here are pretty evenly matched coming into this matchup. And that's why I think this could be probably one of the better bowl games that we see in the early parts of this season, because, I mean, this is a pretty intriguing matchup between both of these teams. Key points, Nevada has been a top team in the Mountain West, as they did finish third, just behind San Jose State and Boise State, which, of course, the reason why Nevada was bumped down behind those two teams was because San Jose State and Boise State going into the championship game were both undefeated in the conference. Nevada had 2 losses in the conference, but they do have one more win than Boise State. But it just goes down to the conference, and they just did not have as good of a record. But still, it's been a great season for Nevada. They've played pretty well all around. Only problem for Tulane is they've been inconsistent this season, but they have played pretty well all season. I mean, if you look at the wins here, I think Tulane's got better wins. However, they do have 3 more losses than Nevada does, so it evens out pretty easily there if you're looking at the games. But as for Tulane, I mean, some of their signature wins this season, they blew out Southern Miss 66-24 back in late September. What else did they do? They blew out Temple 38-3. They blew out Army 38-12. That was a good win. And they also had a 2-touchdown win over Memphis. Only problem is for Tulane is they have taken some bad losses down the stretch too, as they lost to a pretty terrible Houston team 49-31. They lost to Navy, and they also lost to UCF by a significant margin. So Tulane has been pretty inconsistent. It's just a matter of what team is going to show up for Tulane here on Tuesday. It's either going to be the team that has played well this season or the team that's been sloppy. And if it's the team that plays well, I think Tulane could honestly have a huge chance to win this game. But I mean, for Nevada, this is a Nevada team that has been consistent this season. They've played very well all season long, even though they've taken 2 of their losses in the later parts of the season. But I mean, Nevada is still a team that's very talented. And for Tulane here, I mean, they're definitely going to need to start fast against this Nevada team if they're going to want to win. How which team would win here? I think for Tulane, their main key is going to be stopping the Nevada passing game. They got to make sure that Strong is not able to put up 300 yards of passing in this game, or else I think this game will probably be over. I think Nevada, I mean, once again, going up against a Tulane passing defense that's been one of the worst in the American Athletic Conference, I mean, that's a pretty good matchup there for Nevada, considering they've averaged nearly 320 pass yards a game. So it's just, I mean, this is just not a good matchup, I think, for Tulane. Even though I think Tulane is all around, I would say Tulane's the better team. They're more talented than Nevada here. I think we all can agree. But Nevada, problem is for Nevada is they're just not a good matchup for Tulane, and that's why I got Nevada winning this game. I think it's going to be more of a moderate scoring game here. I don't think we see a lot of points scored, but Nevada's going to get the win. I mean, their passing game is going to be too good for Tulane's secondary. Halftime score is going to be 13-10. We're going to see Nevada lead it. It's going to be kind of a low-scoring game to start off with, but in the final, Nevada's going to win 27-24. Will be your final score. We're going to see Nevada win it by a field goal, but there's no doubt that Tulane could win this game. I'm not very confident that the Wolfpack will win it. As you can see, my probability is only 60% towards Nevada here, but I think Tulane definitely is capable, once again, of winning this game. Like, they got the talent to do so. It's just a matter of how they can play right off the bat. Like, if they can stay consistent from the start and have a good game, Tulane should be on their way to a win here, but I think Nevada is just, once again, the better team. It's a better matchup for Nevada. I'm going to go with them in the end, 27-24. Let me know your thoughts and comments below on this game. Let me know your score predictions, all of that down in the comments below. I appreciate you guys all watching. If you enjoyed this preview, slap a like on it. Subscribe as well if you're not already yet, as it really helps the channel. I really appreciate that. Once again, thanks again for watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you all later.